This is Meet Sean, where we break down real life topics insurance, annuities, real estate, travel planning, and home ownership so you can make smarter moves. Subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.
Okay, so I have a confession to make. And honestly, I feel like this is a safe space to make it because I know I'm not the only one. I am currently suffering from a debilitating, just crushing case of analysis paralysis.
Ah, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah.
What's the trigger this time? Is it like buying a new mattress, picking a streaming service?
If only it were that simple. No, it's vacation planning. You know that specific feeling when you finally decide, okay, I've earned this, I'm going to take a break. You think the hard part is over, but then you open your laptop, you type Mexico vacation, and 45 minutes later you look up and you have like 47 tabs open.
The browser tab graveyard. I know it well.
It's awful. I'm looking at star ratings, I'm cross-referencing maps, or reading these reviews from people complaining about the towel animals not being fluffy enough, and I honestly can't tell the difference. A suite in Cancun, a villa in Cabo, they all look amazing, they all have blue water, but I know they're different. I just don't know how.
It is the classic paradox of choice. We think we want endless options, we demand them, really. But when you're actually presented with them, hundreds of resorts, 2 different coastlines, it just becomes incredibly daunting. Your brain shuts down.
Which is exactly why we are doing this today. We are looking at a stack of travel insights and data from Resort Life and Carter Travel. And our mission on this deep dive is to cut through all that noise. We're going to decode Mexico's resort life so you aren't just booking a room, you're choosing an experience.
That distinction is key. Experience versus accommodation. You get the geography or, the resort category wrong, you might end up with a vacation that looks great on paper but just feels completely off for what you need.
I love that because for me, the allure has always been those 2 magic words. All-inclusive. I want to go somewhere where I don't have to carry my wallet. But as I'm learning, not all-inclusives are created equal.
Not even close. And the biggest variable, the one that trips people up right at the start, is the geography.
All right, let's unpack that. Because when you look at a map, Mexico is massive. You've got the Pacific side and the Caribbean side. To the uninitiated like me, they're just 2 sides of the same coin. Does it really matter which one you pick?
It matters immensely. In fact, if we look at the source material, this is the foundational decision. You can't even look at hotels until you solve this. It's like trying to pick a restaurant before you've decided what kind of food you want. Let's start with the Caribbean side, specifically Cancun.
Okay, Cancun. I feel like everyone has a mental image of Cancun. Spring break, loud music, maybe a little chaotic.
That stereotype exists for a reason, and the data backs it up to an extent. The sources define Cancun's identity by 2 main things: the water and the energy. Geographically, it's on the Caribbean Sea. So that means you're getting those classic white sand beaches and that crystal clear turquoise water.
The postcard perfect look.
Yeah.
The kind where you can see your toes in the water even when you're neck deep.
Exactly. It looks like it's been photoshopped. But here's a really interesting detail. That sand, it's limestone based. So even in the blazing heat, the sand stays cool to the touch. It's a small thing, but it changes the whole beach experience. You're not doing that little hop, skip dance to the water.
That is a pro tip. I hate burning my feet running to the ocean. It just ruins the dignity of the whole entrance.
It really does. But beyond the visuals, the source material highlights the vibe. Cancun is defined by vibrant nightlife and high energy. If you're the type of traveler who wants a DJ by the pool, or you want to go out dancing after dinner, this is the region the sources point you toward. It's humid, tropical, lush.
So Cancun is the extrovert of the 2 coasts. It's the life of the party.
That's a great way to put it. Now, compare that to Cabo San Lucas, which is way over on the Pacific coast. It is a completely different animal. If Cancun is the humid jungle party, Cabo is the arid desert retreat.
Desert. See, that's the part I keep getting stuck on.
Yes. And this shocks people. The Baja Peninsula is essentially a desert landscape that just crashes into the sea. You get rugged cliffs, rock formations like the famous arch, and cacti everywhere. It's not that humid, lush vibe. It's dry heat.
That sounds intense.
Yeah.
But the breakdown here describes it as having a laid-back atmosphere.
It is much more laid back. It's less about the high-octane party and more about stunning natural beauty. It feels expansive, but, and this is a huge but, that the sources imply we need to pay attention to, the ocean is different there.
How so?
It's the Pacific. It's colder. It's rougher. In fact, a crucial detail for you to know is that many beaches in Cabo are not swimmable because of the undertow. You're looking at the ocean, you're listening to the waves, but you are not necessarily bobbing around in it like you would be in Cancun.
Oh, wow. See, that stops me in my tracks. If I'm booking a beach vacation, I just assume I could swim. That would be a nasty surprise if I walked down with my floaty and saw a red flag.
Which is why the activity profile is so different. The sources specifically list outdoor activities that connect you with that landscape, not just the swimming. They mention snorkeling and protected coves, of course, but then they list something that really, really caught my eye.
I think I know what you're going to say. I saw this in the notes and I had to double check it.
Camel ride.
Camel rides in Mexico. I would never in a million years have associated camels with a Mexican beach vacation. I picture Egypt, maybe Morocco, but Cabo.
It's a unique feature of that Baja geography we talked about, the desert meeting the sea. So where Cancun gives you that tropical swim-up bar vibe, Cabo gives you dramatic cliffs, sunsets over the Pacific, and yes, camel safaris on the beach.
That is such a stark difference. So if I'm synthesizing this right, the choice isn't just beach versus beach. It's high-energy Caribbean swimmer versus relaxed, nature-focused Pacific observer.
Precisely. You have to ask yourself, do I want to be in the middle of the action with a margarita in the pool, or do I want to disconnect, look at some dramatic rocks, and maybe ride a camel?
Okay, so that solves the where, but then comes the who. The next layer of this onion and the next source of my anxiety is the type of resort. I used to think resort life was strictly for honeymooners.
Oh, absolutely. And this is where that analysis paralysis can really get you. The market has segmented pretty sharply between family-friendly and adults-only. And mixing these up is the quickest way to ruin a trip.
I can imagine. Nothing kills a romantic vibe faster than a cannonball contest next to your lounge chair.
Or, conversely, nothing ruins a family trip faster than staying at a place where your kids are bored to tears because all the amenities are focused on quiet contemplation.
Right. The difference between tolerance and acceptance.
Exactly. The sources break down the family-friendly options pretty clearly. These aren't just hotels that allow kids, they are engineered for them. We're talking about kids' clubs, water parks, specific entertainment schedules, that kind of thing.
Let's dig into the kids' club idea for a second. Is this just a room with a TV and some crayons?
In the modern all-inclusive, it's much more. The source emphasizes these resorts create a whole family-friendly environment. And the benefit isn't just the water park, it's the logistics. If the kids are entertained with supervised activities, treasure hunts, crafts, the parents actually get a break.
That's the key value proposition, isn't it? It's a vacation for the parents from parenting.
Yes. The resort handles the entertainment for you. You aren't playing cruise director for your toddler every hour. You can sit by the pool for an hour knowing they are safe and having fun.
Which sounds like a dream for any parent listening. But let's flip the coin. What if I am that honeymooner? Or maybe I'm just traveling solo and I want some peace and quiet.
Then you are looking for what the text calls serene adults-only retreats.
Serene. That's a heavy lifting word.
It implies a completely different pace. These resorts cater to couples, solo travelers. The focus shifts from water parks to things like fine dining and luxurious amenities. The atmosphere is just generally quieter.
Does that mean the food is better too?
Usually, yes, without the need to cater to the chicken nugget demographic. The culinary programs at adults-only resorts often lean more into gastronomy, wine pairings, more sophisticated stuff. You're getting an experience, not just fuel.
So it's a decision matrix. You pick your Coast Cancun or Cabo, and then you pick your company, family, or adults only. Get those two toggles right. You're 90% of the way there.
That is the framework. And it all comes back to creating a stress-free environment. You put a family in a quiet, adults-only place, they'd feel self-conscious. You put a couple seeking romance in a family resort, they're annoyed. Matching the resort to your intent is crucial.
Speaking of stress-free, let's talk about the logistics of the stay itself. We mentioned all-inclusive earlier, and I feel like there's always some skepticism around that term. Like, is it really all-inclusive, or am I going to get hit with a bill every time I ask for a fresh towel?
It's a fair question. The term has been used loosely for decades, but our sources from Carter Travel provide a pretty standard definition for what these top-tier packages cover.
So what's in the box? What am I paying for up front?
The baseline includes three main buckets. First, accommodations, the room itself.
Right.
Second, meals and drinks. This is usually the big draw unlimited food and beverages.
And that includes alcohol.
Generally, yes, though the quality can vary by resort tier. Top shelf liquor might be extra. And third, standard activities. The text specifically lists stuff like snorkeling, kayaking, and fitness classes.
Okay, so the gym, yoga by the beach, and the non-motorized water sports are usually covered.
Right. The rule of thumb is, if it has a motor, you probably pay for it. If you paddle it, it's free. But and here's where you need to pay attention, the source explicitly mentions that not everything is included. There are extras.
The upsells, the things that get you a checkout.
Well, they frame them as premium experiences. The text notes that specific luxurious amenities often require booking and extra payment. The examples given are spa treatments and golf excursions.
Makes sense. You wouldn't expect a 90-minute deep tissue massage to be free.
Exactly. Or renting a private cabana for the day. So if your vision of the trip involves a daily massage, you need to budget for that separately.
That's a really good watch out. But even with those exceptions, the source seems to really emphasize the value of the all-inclusive model. Why is that? Is it just about saving money?
Not necessarily. They frame it around stress-free travel. Think about the friction of normal travel. Every meal is a transaction. You finish dinner, you wait for the check, you calculate the tip.
You wonder if you ordered too much or if you should have skipped the appetizer.
Exactly. Every coffee, every bottle of water by the pool is a transaction. In an all-inclusive model, you remove the friction of paying for every single interaction. You're not reaching for your wallet 5 times an hour.
That is a huge mental load off. You just exist. You want a taco. You get a taco. You don't sign a receipt.
It changes the psychology of the vacation. You stop auditing your own enjoyment. You aren't calculating the ROI of that second mojito. You're just drinking it.
But there is a danger in that, isn't there? You can get so comfortable inside that resort bubble with your free tacos and your swim-up bar that you forget you're in another country.
Right. The golden cage syndrome. It's very real. You fly all the way to Mexico and see nothing but the inside of the resort. The sources actually make a point of saying that even in an all-inclusive, you probably should leave the property.
Break the seal.
Yes. And they list specific excursion types that are worth breaking that poolside seal for.
What's on the list? What makes the cut?
Well, depending on where you are, for the history buffs, visiting ancient ruins is a big one. If you're in Cancun, you're close to places like Chichen Itza or Tulum, world-class archaeological sites.
That feels like a must-do. To be that close to Mayan history and not see it seems like a missed opportunity.
Then there are sunset cruises, which are classic, and of course more snorkeling boat excursions that take you to reefs you can't reach from shore.
Okay, so here's the practical hurdle. I decide I want to go see some ruins. How does that actually happen? Because the idea of wandering out of a secure resort and trying to haggle with a vendor on the street creates that exact stress we're trying to avoid.
You are spot on, and that is where the logistics of booking come in. The source material from Carter Travel is very focused on the how-to. They emphasize booking these things through reputable sources to keep the trip seamless.
They mention specific portals for this, right?
They do. They mention Sean Carter's travel booking and Carter excursions. The idea is that you aren't just winging it or trusting a random brochure. You have a verified provider.
I noticed they were pretty specific with the contact info, which is unusual for these general guides.
It is, but it speaks to the service aspect. For anyone actually planning right now, the source lists the website as seancarter.intellitravel.com. They also provide a direct phone number, 727-314-1865.
727. That sounds like a Florida area code.
It is. The contact details place the agency in St. Petersburg, Florida.
That's actually reassuring. There's a comfort level in knowing the people handling your international logistics are based domestically.
It connects back to that stress-free theme. The advice here is that using a trusted provider is a safety net. If your shuttle doesn't show up, who are you calling? A local operator or a U.S.-based agent?
Right. You're offloading the cognitive load to a professional.
Exactly. You aren't just buying a ticket. You're buying peace of mind.
Which brings us back to the start, the analysis paralysis. It feels like we've built a bit of a roadmap here to cure it.
I think so.
So let's zoom out. We started with me hyperventilating over 47 browser tabs.
A common starting point.
And we've narrowed it down to a decision tree. First, geography. Are you team Cancun white sand, turquoise water, vibrant nightlife? Or are you team Cabo Pacific breeze, rugged cliffs, and
camel rides?
And camel rides.
Yeah.
I am never going to forget that.
Yeah.
That is my new did you know fact for dinner parties.
That's a good one. It really highlights how diverse the landscape is.
And the second decision is company. Are you looking for the family-friendly experience where the resort manages the kids' entertainment? Or the adults-only serene retreat?
Once you toggle those two switches, where and who, the overwhelming list of resorts shrinks down to a manageable handful.
And then the final piece is execution. Leveraging the all-inclusive model to remove daily friction, but using a trusted source like Carter Travel to handle the complex stuff.
It effectively turns a daunting task into a tailored experience.
Tailored experience. I like that. It's not just going to Mexico, it's going to your Mexico.
Exactly. And that brings me to a thought I've been mulling over while looking at this.
Oh, what's on your mind?
We talk a lot about all-inclusive as a way to, save money or eat whatever we want. We focus on the economics. But I wonder if the real value isn't financial, but psychological.
How so?
Well, think about curiosity. Does having everything provided for you stifle curiosity? Does it make you lazy? That's the criticism, right? That you become a zombie by the pool.
Sure, the Wall-E effect. You just float and consume.
But what if it's the opposite? What if removing the survival logistics, where to eat, how to get there, how much it costs, actually frees up your mental bandwidth? Does clearing that noise allow you to actually appreciate that stunning natural beauty the source talks about?
That is a fascinating way to look at it. If
Yes.
I'm not worrying about the taxi fare or if the restaurant is a tourist trap, maybe I have the mental space to actually look at the sunset.
Or simply be present with your family. When you remove the friction of living, you can actually start living in the moment.
Or the camel.
Or the camel.
That is something for you to chew on as you close those 47 tabs and start planning your own getaway. Maybe the goal isn't just to go somewhere, but to go somewhere and not have to make a single decision for 7 days.
Hopefully with a little more clarity now.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Mexico's resort life. Go find your vibe.
That's it for today's Meet Sean. If this helped, follow the show and share this episode with one person who needs it. See you next time.